we are looking at this idea called learned helplessness, coined by Dr. Martin Seligman when he noticed in his experiments that after repeated failure, people tend to give up. They start to create a narrative in their mind that I can't do this, I'm not good enough. And in fact, they aren't born helpless, they just learn to become helpless. Learned helplessness is also sometimes when you feel overwhelmed and your brain starts to shut down to self-preserve. And here's where 3 Ps are going to be really important. Number 1, in that moment, you could feel a sense of permanence. This is going to last forever. Second one, you might think that it's pervasive. It's going to affect all of your life. And the last part, where you sat down in despair, maybe it's just me. Maybe I can't do this. This is what we call personalization. Now, if we encounter a challenging situation and we are stuck in the 3 Ps, pervasiveness, personalization, and permanence, it's quite likely we'll feel very pessimistic about the situation, that it's not going to change, it's not going to be in your favor. So let's have this example of, hey, I did not get a promotion, maybe more relevant for the working adults. Don't worry, students, I have an example for you as well. And what might the person say when they're stuck in a pessimistic outlook and it's permanent? They might say, no matter how I try, I'll never get anything I want. Notice when words like never, always, very extreme use of words, that's why we think permanent thinking. Now, what about the optimist who looks at a challenging situation and actually thinks there is some possibility? Maybe I missed this promotion, but there might be some opportunities ahead of me. Let's try another example. What would they say when they didn't get the promotion? Maybe a very pervasive thought. Nothing in my life ever works out. Again, notice the extreme words. Nothing ever. So if you're thinking like this, you may self-identify that you might be stuck in pervasive negative thoughts. But what does the optimist say? It says, well, I didn't get the promotion this time, but my supervisor told me that my chances would be higher next year. Again, who's going to look more hopeful towards the future? The optimistic way of thinking. Last part, personalization. I didn't get that promotion. Maybe the person will say, oh, I'll never be worthy of promotion. Maybe some of you are thinking, I'll never get this subject right. I'll never be able to make it. So again, notice your language. If you're using extreme words, you might be stuck in the left-hand column. And instead, what we hope for you to shift to is perhaps this. Well, that promotion, I was up against some really worthy colleagues in my department, and that's the reason why I may not have been able to get it this time. So this is the working adult example. Let's do the next one. I got a bad grade in one of my modules. Common or something you worry about for the students? What do you think the pessimistic permanent person might say? I'm going to ask these two gentlemen here. What might the pessimist permanent thought be?
I always underperform.
I always, because you're used always. And what about yourself?
I'll never do well.
I will never do well. Okay, so let's see what's there. Right, see, he read my slides ahead of time. I'm never going to do well. Okay, pass it behind. Pass it behind. How about this one? Optimist, let's try. What will the optimist say?
If I try harder, maybe I can achieve a better score in this module.
Yeah, if I try harder, what do you notice there? I will try some efforts putting in and also maybe, right? So let's see what happens here. Yeah, it feels really bad, but I can learn from my mistakes and try again. But let's look at how the response could be for the pervasiveness. My life is over. Have you all said that to yourself before? But what does the optimist say? He might say, well, I did badly in this one module, but if I pull back and look at the bigger picture, maybe it's not all that bad. In the moment, it can feel really bad. What we feel can be very intense. But what actually is, if you look at it objectively, may be very different. But in that moment, we can't see it. Let's look at the third example. I'm just not that good in that topic. I just can't do it. Whether it's this or this, it's just, I can't do it. I'm limited. But the optimist might say, well, that module wasn't the easiest, and not only I struggled with it. Notice that you are kinder to yourself as well when you tell yourself, hey, maybe it's not just me. It wasn't the easiest. So the switch between a pessimist and an optimist does not happen overnight, but there are some processes which I'm going to share with you that hopefully you can use to train your brain to nurture it with more positivity.